Hello and welcome back to the Hurricane of Football podcast. I'm your host Seth, and today I'm joined with Ferdinand as we travel back 10 years prior to basically 2016 to review some of the Wonder Kids or talents who were dubbed the next Wonder Kids to see if they have been able to achieve their potential or if they're unable to do it. And part of why we are doing this is because it seems like all of a sudden the world is obsessed with 2016. Everywhere you see people posting on social media, post about 2016. So why not also join in the fun? And the first player I'm going to look at is Ousmane Dembele. Back in 2016, he used to play for Rennes. He was a great talent. I think everybody knew he was a great talent, but with his skills, his trickery, that was never in doubt. So people predicted that he was going to have a great career. And for a long period of time, I feel like that thing was never going to happen because there were points. I remember the 2022 World Cup final, he was hooked at halftime. He didn't have I was up until maybe his last 2, 3 years at Barcelona. He didn't have a good time there. He he did also he performed well at Dortmund. He was one of the key players for Dortmund. So let's start with in 2016. He scored 12 goals for Rennes. He earned himself a move to Dortmund, 15 a move to Dortmund, and he made his debut for France then. Now Dortmund was where I think people started noticing him more, where he was involved in 30 goal contributions. He helped them win the Pokal. He was part of that attacking train that involved Aubameyang, Alexander Isak, Dembele, I think, and Reut. He was part of that team. And I think he really did well at Dortmund. But then everything went to shit when he went to Barcelona. Yeah, and as a Barca fan, I feel like low key he scammed us.
He's calmed you.
Yeah,
Why?
I feel like low key he scammed Barcelona. The reason I feel like low key scammed Barcelona is when he went to Barcelona. Okay, maybe I'll say this maybe because he was too young at the same time when he went to Barcelona. That was why. But when he went to Barcelona, he was not taking his training seriously. He himself said that he used to stay up all night to play video games. He was not really looking at his diet. There were even reports that when he came to Barcelona that the house he lived in Dortmund, he made the house like he trashed the house in the sense that the house was dirty and stuff before he left. Then the tenants of the house were complaining that look, I think maybe because he was still young. That's why some of the things he was doing, but he was not taking care of himself and getting injured a lot of times. Though his first injury wasn't his fault, it happened I think against Getafe where he got injured. His first match, I think he assisted Luis Suarez. Then it was the second or third match that he got injured. Then that was how come. Then he kept getting injured every season. His best season before Xavi came was I think the 18-19 season where he was involved in I think 14 goals at the beginning of the campaign. Then he got injured in January again. Then that was that he became so frustrating to Barcelona that every Barca fans were like they give him a lot of patience and leeway. He just kept getting injured season after season and wasn't delivering on to his final really 2 years for the club. But I don't let me ask you from your point, how do you see Dembele before we discuss his last few years? I think moving to PSG in a way was good for him because if he hadn't, he would have been one of the biggest football what he's as a generational talent didn't achieve what he was supposed to. So what do you make of Dembele?
I feel like throughout his career, he's had a very fluctuating career. He's on top, then he goes down. He's on top, then he goes down. It has been like it hasn't been a smooth sailing career for him. Even right now, after winning his Ballon d'Or, he has been injured throughout most of this season, and only just scored 3 goals in Ligue 1. So it's been difficult. It's been a difficult career for him. He has made the most out of what he could at PSG, and he's still there. Hopefully, he can achieve more with that team because right now he's basically the leader of that team. He's a Ballon d'Or winner. I think if you're looking at a, his whole career, how do you even grade it? It hasn't been too bad because he has a Ballon d'Or in there. But generally, is it a career you would want to have? Even though his time PSG has not been too bad.
I feel like I'll say this for the way his career started. Okay, no, not the way his early twenties went. He has, if you are to grade this guy, I think you can give it an 8 because he has salvaged it in a way where if somebody had told you that Dembele would have won a Ballon d'Or before Mbappe, before Haaland, would you have believed?
I mean, not really, but like context matters.
No, but like that's what I'm saying that you see back in 2020, 2022, where he was
Yeah,
getting injured and all that, this one day I told that
yeah.
Mbappe would would go to Real Madrid and still not will not have a Champions League, will not win a Ballon d'Or. Dembele will go to PSG and win them a Ballon d'Or, win them a Champions League, win them a Ballon d'Or. Without say the person is crazy. So I think if I had to put it in that way, he has even if he goes on to the rest of his league career, the rest of his PSG career, he just scored 10 goals and provide 2 assists and all that. I feel like he has had a great career because I think in a way Messi and Ronaldo have fought the reality of how good players are because if I look back, Ronaldinho for all his greatness, his peak was like 4 years. His peak was like 4. It wasn't like a 10 year span. So somehow, if I
Yeah,
look at his whole career, I feel like he has done what
but
to do. I feel like he did Barcelona. That now and I'll continue to
yeah,
say that.
but can you see Dembele has more than a 2 year peak? I don't think you can say that for any period of time in his career. It's just that he has peaked
Oh,
one season and that season has been the highest of peaks you can get because Ballon d'Or, Champions League, won every
I
trophy he
mean,
could at
his early
once.
careers, you could say his early career, but to say it consistently, he hasn't. Even this season, in fact, if you are being honest, last season, form started picking up from January. That's why I still have an issue that I want a Ballon d'Or. If you are talking about people who were good really the whole of 2024-25 season, he was good from January to June, basically. It's not like he was good from
Nah,
the beginning of this one. It's
I
not like he was
slightly
good.
disagree. I slightly disagree with that because he wasn't performing how he was performing like early January, but like for him to get those type of numbers, even though 2025 was where he exploded, 2024 wasn't. Oh, it was
His
solid.
2024
I
was,
think it was made in my opinion.
it was, let me see
Because
if I can,
if it was made, how many goal contributions did he have? Didn't he
in
have like
total.
30 something goals and
Yeah, I think
how
it was 35 goals and 20 something assists or so. I have to
yeah,
check. Let
he
me check
couldn't have
to get it.
scored if he scored like 70% of those in 2025, like then probably he's made, but still,
He
it's
scored
still a
more.
lot.
He scored most of. Let me get the stats up because he scored most in 2025. He scored because it was 2025 he exploded. It was 2025 he exploded. Let me look for. But you keep talking. As I look for the stats.
Yeah, I don't really think it was made because for him to have that number of because in totality for him to get the Ballon d'Or, they would have to recognize part of what he did
In
at the
all,
beginning
in
of
the
the
season, in all, I'm coming. In the whole season,
year.
he scored 35 goals and provided 16 assists. That was in all. But then let me look for only 2024.
And if you break that into half, it probably now let okay 60%, meaning let's just say he scored 40% of that in 2024, ending of 2024, the beginning of that season. That's still a lot of goals for the beginning of that year. PSG were not performing like at their best level because we know that in the Champions League stuff they didn't even qualify. They didn't get straight qualifications. They had to go through the playoffs. So for them to go to it was the team as a general. I feel like his performances it only got better. I don't think it was made per se. I think
I can't
it
actually
was
find only the 2024
yeah.
stats. I can't actually find that. So, but honestly, I feel like it wasn't that. Let's move on from that. But I feel like if you rank his career in totality, if I was to give it a grade, I might give it I'll give 7.8 out of 10 because he has been able to salvage the career in a way that if you had told him that he would do that, I wouldn't believe because I feel like he just continue to get injured and injured. And even when he moved to PS, he struggled at first. When Mbappe was still there, he struggled at first to really to stamp his authority. So What about you?
7.5 is a score. If it's a grade, I'll give him like a B minus. Out of 10, I'll give it 7 because for his whole career, maybe he can do more with his career. If there's one thing that raises that grade is that Ballon d'Or season. So if initially I'll probably give it like a 6 or 5. That Ballon d'Or season has increased his this thing. That if he didn't have that type of season, it probably would still be a 6 for his career, or maybe a 5 because of expectations. You have to factor that one into it too.
Okay, so then let's move on. Sorry, I mistakenly. I be my things are uploading.
What?
I say I be the things they are uploading.